Welcome, 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 welcome to the check-in report, people. We are gathered here today to talk about a Brooklyn Dusty. We're here to talk about a bully. And I don't want to kick a man while he's down, but this dude was one of the worst. He's been bullying people his whole life. And we're going to get into the tale of Mr. Taxstone. But I saw this message today. I saw this Twitter thing that he put out. If you don't know, Taxstone, we're talking about Mr. Ratstone. The man has been sentenced to 35 years confined into a cell. Into a small cell, no bigger than a public bathroom. He's ultimately going to spend the majority of his natural born life in jail. And I'm just looking at the arrogance of this man. We're going to go down the whole history of this man, but just this is what he wrote after being sentenced to 35 years. Just got 35 years for being victimized and reversing the situation. The beauty in it all is I'm not doing 35. I'm not doing 35. Be safe though. Taxstone, you are a career criminal. This the nerve of you. To tell the court system, to tell our justice system that you ain't doing 35, and we're gonna get into a lot. I got a lot to get into because I got a video to get into. We're gonna look at some more of these tweets, but this man has been so arrogant with the crime he has been committed throughout his life. If we're being honest about Mr. Taxstone, a man who did rat, who did cooperate, and who did give a letter to the judge giving information on the felonious and felonious crimes that Troy Ave was doing. But this man has been just arrogant. And he has been spending his whole life bullying people, pushing people into a corner, pushing people to have to defend themselves, pushing people to have to speak up for themselves. And he just shows an arrogance as a career criminal. You Sir Taxstone, you're doing the 35. You're going to do the 35. Let's get into some more of his tweets. Do not protect yourself. This is his second tweet after writing what he wrote the first time. Do not protect yourself in NYC. If someone attacks you, you just delete yourself. If you don't prefer jail. Now, you hear Taxstone lobbying, if you will, behind bars for lower and more, unrestricted gun laws. Taxstone, first of all, you were a felon, a career criminal in the middle of the city with a firearm inside of a club. Are you kidding me? You have to like. Am I missing something here? As a career criminal, you're sitting on this, high horse, like you have rights. You're a felon. You're a jailbird. You don't deserve the right to be running around with firearms to protect yourself. You've lost that privilege. You destroyed your community. You terrorized dudes that were less stronger than you, that were not as thugged out as you pretended to be. You pulled a lot of dudes' cards. You went in and out of the jail system. You don't get the luxury of running around with a firearm. You've lost that privilege by the buffoonery and coonery that you participated in when it came to your community. Mr. Ratstone. Let's get into some more of his tweets, man. And people was asking if he was going to appeal. I'm guessing that's going to be his next his next venture. He's going to try to eventually try to appeal the decision of him receiving 35 years as a 40-year-old career criminal that had no right to be running around the city with a gun, who had no right to be running around with an illegal gun, not only just a gun, but an illegal firearm. I mean, the nerve of this dude. And now he's talking about don't bend, don't break, don't shiver, don't shake. Mr. Taxstone, you gave a letter to the judge giving information on Troy Ave. Your hands are not clean. Your hands are not washed of that. You did a lot of nonsense, a lot of buffoonery, and you ultimately ratted. You ratted on Troy Ave, and you can't live that down, sir. You got to put that on your jacket. That's on your jacket. Now he writes, how can you testify in open court that you and your friend decided to beat me up, then beat me up, and I protected myself, and you claim self-defense? Where's the Republicans when you need them? Taxstone, let's really walk into the situation. Let's really talk about what happened that night, because a lot of things are not really talked about in a full scale. Taxstone, Troy Ave was there to work, whether you want to realize it or not. He was there to work. He was there to perform, to do his show, do his 1-2 thing, hop on the stage. You, sir, being invited by Mr. Casanova, who ultimately, you going to the concert was your downfall. But you, sir, as a visitor to that venue, who wasn't checked by security, who decided to leave the home with a firearm because you felt the need to protect yourself. You was in full understanding of the threat that you was walking into. In my belief, because that's the story that a lot of people are running with. They're running with the story of, Troy Ave ran down on Taxstone and yada yada yada. But let's take that approach. Let's see if he did run down on him, and that was the approach. At that moment in time, it was a fair fight. Troy Ave, in my opinion, was looking for a fair one, was looking for a legitimate fisticuffs with you. He wasn't looking to take it to the guns at that very moment. He wasn't looking to take it to the, to the firearms and to the blickies. He just wanted to put them hands on you. But you, sir, being a coward, leaving the home with the firearm that was illegal, you, sir, was the criminal. You, sir, as a visitor of the as a visitor to the function, as a visitor, you were a visitor that night. You wasn't paid to be there. Nobody asked you to come. Nobody begged you to be there. Nobody was campaigning. Taxstone wasn't on the bill. He wasn't on the flyer for the function. but you feeling all salty, all butthurt, all sour, because you decided to be a coward and leave the house with a firearm. You decided to leave the house with an illegal firearm. You decided to do the nonsense, to be an idiot. Take responsibility, Taxstone. Take responsibility for your nonsense, for your buffoonery. And then he writes, don't worry, my appeal will be swift. Listen, sir, Mr. Taxstone, we don't know if your appeal will be swift. The judge may ultimately decide to wipe his behind with your appeal, sir. Just because you're foul for appeal doesn't mean that you're going to get it. And as a career criminal with a record long as a track meet, you shouldn't get your hopes up. You shouldn't get your thoughts up. Humble yourself. Take responsibility for what you did. As a career criminal, take responsibility. He just lacks accountability of anything that he did, and it's in my opinion, it's his lifestyle. It's what he's been doing. It's in his it's in his nature. And I just think that the arrogance of this dude, just a pure, unadulterated, dusty Brooklyn dude that, and we all know how Brooklyn dudes give it up. Let's be real, man. We all know how Brooklyn gives it up. Brooklyn gives it up like, listen, I'm going to punch you in your face and I'm going to let you know I did it and you ain't going to do nothing about it. That's how Brooklyn, that's how old Brooklyn. He's from the old Brooklyn. He's from that, he's almost 40. He's from that old Brooklyn cloth. He's not from that hipster Brooklyn cloth. He's from that old school Brooklyn. And we know how Brooklyn gives it up. Brooklyn is all about disrespecting you and wanting to let you know that I did it. That's how Brooklyn gives it up. And he wears that on his chain. He wears that on his jacket as a badge of honor. Taxstone is a clown. He's a clown who terrorized and bullied people his whole life. And let's be real, he bullied Troy Ave. He bullied that brother. He bullied him on the net. He bullied him. He questioned if he was a man. He disrespected him, violated him, and Troy Ave just had enough. Just like, let's be honest, Taxstone lost a vision, one of his eyes, because he kept bullying and bullying and bullying a young man. And ultimately, the man had enough. We're going to play that.